Well, fall is upon us. Not only is fall upon us, but we are having our first frost in less than 30 days. In fact, we're only about 20 days until our first frost. And so in today's episode, I'm gonna share with you all the crops that we are still starting in our garden with less than 30 days until our first frost. That way you guys can plant more, grow more, and get more out of your garden. Let's go. When it comes to planting a fall garden, our selection is already pretty limited. However, if you're less than 30 days until your first frost, your selection is even more limited. But that doesn't mean you can't have a really great garden. In fact, in my hand here, I've got all the things that we're gonna be planting in our fall garden with less than 30 days until our first frost. Now here's the secret, is all the things in my hand here, they fall under three very important criteria. They are fast growing, that means they sprout very fast. They are fast maturing, that means they are grown and ready to be harvested right away, almost within less than a month. So they're fast maturing. I prefer under 45 days to maturity for these crops. That's a fast maturing variety, but also they're frost and freeze tolerant. That's probably the most important of the three, but I want them to check all three of those boxes. If they check all three of those boxes, they are crops that are good to go in my garden. So what we are planting is, we're gonna be planting some radishes. We're gonna plant radishes, good row of some radishes here. We already have some other radishes, but we are just continuing our succession sowing. Succession sowing is a process of continuing to plant in blocks. Basically time blocking your planting so that not everything is ready at the same time. If something goes wrong, you have something else to fall back on, kind of an insurance policy. But it also guarantees that when you start harvesting, you're not gonna get everything all at once, which is awesome. We're also gonna plant some mustard. Mustard greens are great in the fall. They're so awesome. We've got quite a few different mustards. There's another radish there, some more radishes. There's a lot of radishes, but we got some mustards. We got some tatsoi mustard, some Tokyo Bacana mustard, another hailstone radish there. We have some Mizuna Red Streaks mustard, and that is it for the mustards. So we've got a good amount of radishes. Radishes, they are awesome. They're the quintessential fall/early winter crop because they sprout in like 3 to 4 days and they only take like 25 to 30 days to mature. So get a lot of those in your garden. They will love it and they can handle a frost, no problem at all. Your mustard greens, fast to grow, fast to mature. You can harvest them at any stage because they're a leafy green. That makes them awesome as well, but they can handle some pretty cold temperatures. Up next is pak choi cabbage. Pak choi white stem cabbage is probably one of the fastest growing, fastest maturing varieties of cabbage. And it's not like your heading cabbages. It's actually a very tender, super succulent, delicious little cabbage. We love to throw it in all different types of stir fries and soups, and we'll even throw it in salads and stuff. It's just such a great, really refreshing cabbage. We also have some kale. Now, kale is very cold tolerant. We grow kale all through winter with almost no protection at all. Our big kale over here, that's gonna be alive come January, February time. And so this is a very cold tolerant variety that obviously we're going coldest tolerant. The feathered frills kale is probably, that and the red Russian kale are probably some of the most cold tolerant varieties of kale that exist. So we're gonna be growing some of this feathered frills kale. We also have some more lettuce. Now we do have some other lettuce planted, but again, succession planting. Lettuce, you can harvest it at any stage because it's a leafy green, but it also can easily handle a frost and even a freeze, no problem. So we're throwing that in our garden as well. Some arugula. We got arugula here because arugula, much like all the others, are a leafy green. Now you're going to be growing predominantly, with the exception of radishes, leafy greens. So just know that there's kind of a common theme here, and you're gonna have to kind of be okay with that because leafy greens can handle the cold weather. Leafy greens can handle 30, 28, even down to about 20 degrees with very, very little damage. So they can handle that no problem. We got here, like I said, arugula, leafy green. It's so buttery and sweet, especially when it gets colder. It's just a fan favorite of ours, and it can really handle some super cold weather. Last but not least, what we're gonna be planting here is we're gonna be planting some spinach. Now we have the butterfly and the viroflay spinach. These are probably the most cold tolerant varieties of spinach that we have. These are gonna be used for baby spinach. Now these take about 7 to 14 days to germinate, but the caveat is that because they are so cold tolerant, we're gonna be growing them well into spring. We're gonna be harvesting these come next late February, early March, when weather gets back above freezing and all the snow and everything thaws, these are the first crops to again begin growing in the springtime. And we're gonna get some of those beautiful spring greens. So I'm very, very excited about that. And we're also going to be doing a lot in the greenhouse behind me throughout winter. We're gonna be growing a ton of these same crops in the greenhouse as well, just for kind of an all seasons garden. So I'm really excited about that. And last but not least, what we were planting here is the obvious one, and that is garlic. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, it seems like it's a little bit late to be planting garlic, the answer to that would be, yeah, it's a little bit late to be planting garlic. But what I have found is that anytime you plant garlic in the fall, it's always going to beat out garlic planted in the spring. Now you can for sure plant garlic in the spring, and spring garlic is okay, but you're going to have cloves that are never going to be as large. You're going to have heads that are never going to have the vigor and the size that you have with fall planted garlic. And so just because we're about 20-ish days until our first frost, give or take. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm going by an average first frost date. Because of that, we're going to be taking this garlic, throwing it in the ground, and we're probably, if I'm a betting man, we're probably going to have some pretty impressive garlic still. So if you have not yet planted garlic, make sure you do that. It is something that I cannot recommend enough. It is such an expensive crop. I mean, a single head of garlic at our grocery store now is costing anywhere from like $1.50 to $1.75. And that's for conventionally grown. Organic is almost $2 a head, which is just absolutely insane. So when it comes to garlic here, I'm taking seed garlic, I pop it in the ground, and this one head here, this is a soft neck variety. We can get away with growing some soft neck varieties here in Michigan. You just gotta be particular on the varieties. This is the red toque variety. I am putting this about an inch below the soil level, and I'm going to mulch after to protect it from the cold winter weather. But I'm getting from this single head here about 12 different cloves that I'm planting, meaning that is the potential for nearly about $30 worth of garlic from a single head. And so this is a huge money saver, one that you can still plant in your fall garden, still have time for. And if you don't get sprouts, like a lot of people, if they don't see sprouts come mid-November or so, they think their garlic is dead and rotten under the soil. You probably just didn't have enough time for it to start growing. It's more than likely focusing on root development, getting established, and come spring, you're gonna see those beautiful little green tops popping out of the ground. No worries at all. So those are the crops that we are still growing with less than 30 days before our first frost. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you wanna learn more on how to grow all these different crops, from lettuce to radishes to garlic, check out our complete growing guides. We do have walkthroughs on how to grow all of those. I would definitely encourage that if you're new to gardening. But as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.